Hitler's Gaming here, bringing you another awesome video. I haven't decided what the title is before the video this time. But what I want to talk about today is suicide ganking and what they actually look like and what they actually are. And I'm kind of going to show off my side of a couple of occurrences where I came out on top, and hopefully we will enlighten you a little bit on what it is and how it currently works in the game. I'm not going to speak on my feelings on whether or not. Um, Actually, I will, but I'm not gonna kind of speak on my feelings on the balance of it, I should say, because I do believe that this should be something that exists in the game. However, I believe that there should be a consequence to it, and right now, there is no consequence to suicide ganking people, and I believe firmly that suicide ganking lies very strongly in the favor of the ganker. More often than not, they're pre-calculated once the occurrence happens. Generally speaking, you're dead. Is generally how it goes. Um, and yeah, so let's kind of get into it a little bit. I'll start by talking about a few times that I've been ganked. I've been caught on gates. I've been caught in missions. I've been caught, doing various things, getting ganked. I've lost many, 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 many ships from suicide ganking, from Garmers all the way up to Vargers. And I find that the best response you as a player can have is to, if you say anything in chat or in local, is just say good fight and leave it alone. I know that behind the keyboard, behind the mask, you are frustrated, you're angry, you're upset, it's infuriating, whatever you want to call it. As long as you don't send that through the keyboard and send that into chat, more often than not, they're not going to come back. The people that do this do it purely for fun and do it to get a reaction out of you. So if you give them that reaction, they'll continue to do it, regardless of if they make ISK or not. They'll initially target you for the profit. They see you're flying something shiny. They see you're flying something nice. They'll come and kill you. Sometimes even if you don't make profit, for example, they'll just kill Marauders, and you guys know that I really like to fly Marauders. So it always equals this kind of interesting thing. But yeah, I just want to talk about it a little bit. So basically what happens is the initial thing is they will scan you, and it plays a little animation. I don't have a clip of it right now. But they'll scan you, and then they'll see what you're flying. Or if they see that you're in a ship, they'll scan it, and then what they can see in the scan is what's in your cargo and what you're fitted with. So if you have something worth like 5 billion ISK, you're obviously going to become a target. But if you're like tier 2 fit, you're less likely to be a target. Notice I said less likely and not going to be a target. Um, they'll target things like Marauders, pirate faction ships and stuff. Just because people are more likely to get upset or angry if they lose their fancy ship. And of course, the first tip of EVE Online is don't fly what you can't afford to lose. So we follow that one. We don't fly what we can't afford to lose, therefore mitigating our personal pain or our personal upsetness whenever we do end up losing the ship. Because after all, it is just a game, and we're just playing for fun, and losing the ship is something that happens. We all lose our ships. But I do find it frustrating that they can kill you and you don't really have anything to lash back at. I am going to talk about your tools that you can use to protect yourself against suicide gank, and your tools that you can use to, um, uh, you know, have things go in your favor. The first one is knowledge. If you are, I know this is wild, but if you have an alt next door where the suicide gankers likely come from, you can see them coming in. If you watch local, you can see them pop into local. If you watch D-scan, you can see the combat probes go out. If you pay attention to your ship when you're undocking from the station, you can see if somebody scanned you. You can be aware that you're in danger, and that alone the awareness that you're in danger is really important. So I guess I'll tell a little hateless story of real life. So it'd be I guess 6, 7 year old me. We were out hiking, and I live in Washington, so random mountain, hiking trail. Uh, wasn't aware of it at the time. I just remember my cousins coming up to me and being like, "Hey, you gotta stay with us. Like, whatever you do, stay with us." I was like, "Why?" Because my cousins like to mess with me a lot. Apparently, my eldest cousin was in the know that there was a cougar prowling us. So I had my uncle in front of me, and my dad behind me, and my cousins around me, and we stayed together. But a cougar was straight up prowling us. If you're not aware that that cougar's there and is ready to pounce on you, there's nothing you can do about it. But if you're aware that the cougar's there, the big adults will go on the outside, and you go from biggest and with the smallest, most vulnerable in the middle. And that's just kind of how you do it. And we went down the trail happily. And then at the end, my dad was like, "Hey, we had a cougar following us. You have nothing to worry about, but there was a cougar following us." Um, and it's the same thing. If you don't know that they're there, they can cause you harm unless you're being protected by others. And in these two circumstances that I'm going to show you, I had friends around me notifying me that something was coming. We were aware it was on its way, and we were able to come out on top because we have the advanced knowledge that we're being hunted. If you know you're being hunted, you can kind of react and predict and put yourself in a better situation to be where they're not. The game is fought as far as suicide ganking. The game is fought before they ever land on your head. The calculations have been done. They've located you. They've done their homework. They know what you're flying. They know this stuff, regardless of if you're aware of what they know. But they know this stuff. They're very good at collecting this information. They're very good at following you. They'll maybe collect it one day and then hunt you 3 days later. Like that's something that happens. Uh, People do get really good at hunting and start taking notes of what they didn't catch today, and kind of like, hey, well, this guy docks at this time. We might be able to catch him then, and then they get good at it. They're predators, and you are unfortunately the prey in the world of Eve Online. So if you're aware that you're being hunted, or you're aware that you're a possible target, you can do things like watch D-scan. You can do things like watch local. You can pay a little bit more attention when you're running. Um, but yeah, the biggest piece of advice I have is win the battle before they ever land on you. So like if you're flying in a marauder, not sitting at 0 on the beacon in your mission or in your anomaly, whatever it is you're doing, if you are distanced from the beacon, say you're in null-sec routing, instead of warping to 0 at your haven, you can warp at 100 and then micro jump drive in a random direction, kind of to the other side, so that you're kind of somewhere where they won't land. So if somebody comes in and lands on you, they're not going to be at 0. They're not going to land right on your head. You're going to be way over here. And then you have time to be like, hey, yeah, I'm just going to go somewhere else. Yours is gone. You can practice safe habits to make it more difficult to catch you. You can seed your mission ships and systems where you get missions, and go grab the ship for the mission. There's all kinds of ways that you can get around different kinds of traps that they can set up, and I'd recommend kind of exploring those and thinking of new ways yourself, because you might come up with something that I haven't come up with, or something that the ganker hasn't come up with. If you're different from the norm, or you're not the slowest gazelle, you're not going to get killed by the cat. You don't want to get killed by the cat, because cats are really good hunters. Look at her. She's like, why are you pointing at me? Anyways, without further ado, I have two instances here uh, from Twitch that were captured during my live streams that I kind of want to go over. This first one is these are both during anti-Rosenborg fleets. So during these encounters, I was surrounded by eyes and people that were helping me. So in this instance, what we knew is that there was in fact a suicide ganker in system ready to go. He showed his catalyst already. We knew they were there. I like doing things in your face. I'm gonna run anyways. That's how I work. So I was like, okay, well, we're not going to let him stop us. He docked up his catalyst, and so I kept an alt on the station where the catalysts were. It was cloaked. The suicide ganker couldn't see it. I had another buddy that had his alt on the station as well. Like I said, you'll hear a lot of communication happen very quickly, and you'll see how quickly I react to the changing situations. Unfortunately, I can kind of imitate myself, but my overlay is in the exact same spot where my reaction is. But we'll just go ahead and listen to what happens. So at this point, I start looking up like this, and I'm looking up at my other monitor. So I'm looking up at my other monitors, and I'm watching what's happening because I'm watching all the catalysts undock. So I'm sitting here knowing full well that catalysts are undocking. And notice the immediate thing that I did upon realizing that they were undocking. So is that was green. I'm trying to find the exact moment. So it's green, right? So my siege cycle here is green. I'm in siege. I can't move. It gets drawn to my attention via flashing orange in the corner of my eye that it's time to do something. And so I drop siege, and I'm flying 2 Chronos at this point. So I'm dual boxing. I got 2 of them on grid. And so I'm quickly dropping siege, getting ready, and I'm staring up at the upper screen. And I'm going to continue firing and continue doing my duties in fleet, but I have eyes on the gankers, and I see what they're doing. I just don't know. It's the dock align. So I'm just telling myself to align to the insta-dock as soon as the dock align. So I just told myself to align to insta-dock, and I'm just kind of going through my characters, going insta-dock, 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 ready to go. Because I have 3 characters on grid, 2 of them are marauders, so I'm aligning them all out. In insta-dock align. Catalysts are out. I repeat, the catalysts are out. And so at this point, I'm aware, I'm aligned, and if they do land on me, I can just warp off. So now at this point, I'm aware the catalysts are outside. I am now effectively out of siege because it took him longer than 30 seconds to undock his catalysts. This is with the suicide ganker in system on inside of a citadel, and he knows exactly where I'm at. Like it's not rocket science to find out exactly where I'm at. So this is literally just a simple thing.
They're warping. Where are they going?
So there, my buddy said that they're warping. So they left the grid where my scout was, and we were in transition. I didn't know if they were coming to me. I didn't know which character they were coming to, which one needed to be warped off. So I didn't have the full picture yet. And then I continue, playing with the NPCs, doing my job. I'm lining out. And here's where we first see the catalyst. They pop up. I don't have the perfect reaction time, so I don't immediately react. But I'm trying to figure out where they're landing right now. I'm trying to figure out which character they're landing on, so I can figure out which one to warp first.
Sure.
And then so now everybody that's on comms with me is going to freak out because they're not used to this kind of instance. And you'll hear a little bit of freaking out.
Yeah. Looks like Planet 3.
And then you notice my scout's a little bit behind. He said it looks like Planet 3. We're on Planet 3 and they're landing on our head. So he did descan. He tried to give me a heads up. But at this point, I'm pretty aware that they're landing on my head. And so a suicide gank is in progress. At this point, normally, you lost the match. Unless you're already aligned. So
they're going for Kronos.
We moonwalk right on out of there. Suicide gank fails. They can't target these ones because they're too far away. So they just failed. This was a failed attempt. And this is because, again, we have the knowledge.
Kronos escaped.
Kronos off grid. I got the second Kronos off grid.
Here comes the catalyst.
And that's basically it. It's a little 2-second clip, and I'll give you guys a link in below where you guys can watch my reactions live, because I do have in the clip, I do have me actually reacting and keeping my cool and just kind of doing what I need to do to keep the ships alive. I have another instance which is a little bit more fun. So this was a gank attempt that actually happened the other day. And at this point, the fleet has evolved. That was the earlier days of running the anti-trig fleets. Nowadays, rather than just having me and my 2 Chronos, we have 5 or 6 Marauders on grid with full boost support and a bunch of other things. We saw the Catalyst on grid, and we told the Nagas to align out, and the Marauders stay siege. Is the running order. Don't Look was the combat scanner. We were aware he was there. We were aware the catalysts were in system. We were ready for it, and I screwed everything up. So this would have been a clean-cut win, but it was a close call, is what it ended up being. I made mistakes, and I'm going to show you the mistakes I made. So as you can see, I see the Don't Look. They're scanning. I've already given the order for the Nagas to align out, and the Marauders have been instructed to red cycle. Is where we are currently at. Sorry, I hit the space button. Full screen. So
There's the scan.
I saw the scan come down, or I saw the scanner warp down to me, telling me that the catalysts were coming. And at this point, we're in siege, and they're landing on our head. So this is an entirely different situation than the situation before, where we were unsieged, lined out, ready to go. This is literally caught with our pants down. However, we have 4 Marauders.
Here it comes.
So the immediate reaction was not to bail, because, we can't. They landed on my head personally. Again, these are the only 2 attempts that we've had on us during the fleets, and I'm sure making this video is going to attract all kinds of attention. I hope it doesn't. But our immediate response was, because, there's a Siege Chronos right there, there's another Siege Chronos right there. We have stuff happening. We can't just up and leave. So, stand and fight.
It's on my
Our
head.
initial reaction was to clear lock
Lock
targets.
them up, guys. Lock them up. Lock them up. Lock them up. Lock them up.
I had all Marauders. We do run sensor boosters in the fleets now, so people have really fast lock times, and we can actually lock things back.
They're going for me.
Caught that they were going for me, and at this point, I overheated my repper to get as much rep as I can. I know it's only a tier 2 repper. I don't have crazy things going to help me. Overheated the repper, began locking up catalysts. And then at this point, we're scrammed, all the things. I immediately, my ungrouped guns are immediately targeting catalysts. And we're immediately firing back. So what this does is it takes them out of the equation. So we got 1 catalyst, 2 catalysts.
Lock them up. Kill them. Kill them, boys.
I had more. I didn't have enough locked. I should be locking up catalysts here. And then I personally killed 4 of them. Another pilot killed 2, and 1 killed 1. So we killed 5 of them before Concord showed up. And then everybody was instructed not to kill the pods.
There's the scan. Here it comes.
And so what happened is, during the actual gank, in the window that it happened, my siege actually expired about halfway through. So for one of my armor rep boosts during the fight, my siege wasn't on, and for half of the actual, killing the NPCs or killing the catalysts, my siege was off. I was missing about 30% of my EHP from the resistances, so it's not stacking penalties. So I was doing this fairly poorly, and we still survived with a fairly high margin of error, being that I still had the entirety of my hull left.
Good work.
I'm not going to tell you the details on this fit exactly as it was in this moment, nor the skills on the character, to try and give a little bit of room for you guys to kind of try to guesstimate how this is set up. But the way that we survived here is we worked as a group to out DPS them, and then I immediately docked up, and the entire fleet just docked up. We went and we waited out the timers to be safe.
Here it comes.
And yeah, that was it. That's a couple of suicide gank attempts. I just kind of want to share with you strong reactions to them. Even if you react in the ways that I do, you still can get caught. It's all about being 1 step ahead of your attacker. In this case, we were 1 step ahead. We had a pre-planned reaction to this, and we've thought about it. We've metagamed it, And because we had the pre-planned reaction, we didn't freak out. We had a plan in place in the event of. And that is really the key. You want to have a plan in place in the event of, in order to survive suicide gank, being caught in null-sec, whatever it is you're doing in EVE Online. Flying anything worth killing, somebody's going to come try and kill it. You need plans in place to deal with these things. Yeah, anyways, I thought that you guys would enjoy the video made about ganking and kind of explaining things that you can do to counter it. I encourage you not to give up if you get ganked. I really hate seeing people leave over things like this. It is something that you can improve your gameplay and get better at to avoid being ganked. I used to get killed all the time. Now I normally come out on top, but every time when I was starting and I first started, I lost ships whenever I got ganked. And I still do. I lost a Noctis the other day. I wasn't paying enough attention, so I didn't stuff it in the Orca. And I didn't fire back. So we lost the Noctis, and we almost lost the second Noctis. Because I had two Noctises on grid, and they went for the Noctis. And whatever. It happens. You win some, you lose some. But with that being said, guys, fly fun. Enjoy your time in EVE Online and continue flying fun. Continue bringing people up, and I will see you guys in the next one.